1 Prologue. You are listening at FameTV.info. The girl walked, dragging her scrawny, dead tree limbs with her, not heading anywhere, but to escape. Her thirsty throat only brought down her saliva. The throat, which had lost muscle and was skinny, could only function vaguely, and even the sensation of swallowing things was no longer fading. And it wasn't just his throat that was dry. Her eyes, her lips, her skin, and even her mind were dry. That it had already been 2 days since Aisha had left the village, or to be more precise, since she had been kicked out. The only thing that could be in her mouth was tree roots and the rain that fell on a whim. Still, you can help but resent the abominable blood, as it a lot better than eating a meal smeared with the smell of animals. The irony of the villagers' sarcasm that starving to death might cure your unhealthy eating habits is on my mind, but unfortunately, a near-death experience is unlikely to cure you. That I can vaguely understand that I am nearing my limit. That I am not faltering on my feet. My body also wobbles and shakes even though I don't want it to. There is not an ounce of vitality left in my leathery body. Aisha only smiled dryly at her mouth as she looked at her hands, cracked from water work, and her palms with flesh stings from working in the fields. Dirty hands, still getting dirty, dying. I don't even have the strength to speak already. That I even wondered if I was lucky not to be able to speak of a confirmed future, and my smile of self-mockery got a little deeper. I wish I had died in the same place with my dad. Either way, it was only a matter of time before he would die of exhaustion, or be attacked and eaten by the beast. Either way, it was only a matter of time. Death was not an uncommon occurrence for Aisha. Most of the frontier villages in the free trading cities were poor. If the weather wasn't favorable and crops didn't grow, people would die of starvation, or even be eaten by demons while hunting. Bandits would attack and destroy them, or the moneyless poor would sell themselves to improve their position, or even sell their families just to survive. The lords don't even offer tax relief when they play up that the people will starve to death. They don't care how many people die, as long as they have an absolute number of targets to exploit. If they leave the peasants alone, they will create another. Farmers who are managed with such a mindset cannot even be treated as their own species. They are like insects crawling on the ground. Being crushed at their whim. And no matter how many poor farmers die, no one even recognizes them. This was the world that Aisha had known. To live in such a world, just that, is extremely harsh. So there was no place in the village for Aisha, who was slow to grow up and very much a crusher of likes and dislikes. And no matter what she did, she couldn't work like a person. After 20 years and counting, everyone around her is an adult, but Aisha is still a small child. Aisha was no longer a person that she didn't want. That something Aisha doesn't pessimistic about. If Aisha is pessimistic, it for one thing and one thing only. After all, she is just a spoiled father. It pointless, worthless. That I am just sad. That I am only a helpless girl. She hates herself for not being able to help her father. That why she doesn't resent anyone, because she only hates herself. The crispy golden thread of her hair was dominated by the wind. If guided by such a breeze, Aisha peered deep into the forest, which was as dark as lacquer, shone faintly in the moonlight, leaving a dense and eerie feeling. The sound of footsteps heard in such a forest. The beast. But we can run anymore. Her body had long since reached its limit. Aisha prediction was right, and yet it was off. What? ISN that a kid, or did you get dumped? Hey. Let bring it home and have a gang rape. Hey, Jill. A bone-headed, bare-chested, no girl, kid. I am not even going to be able to sell it. Kill him, or your boss will kick your ass if you late coming home. Even though the beast was a beast, more than one filthy, lust-laden beast stood around Aisha. Aisha body trembled, the hateful gazes that the villagers were directing at her were not cute. Is clear malice, harm, hostility, and killing intent, such a thing that eats away at one s body and heart. It was not a happy life, their food was poor, their clothes were in tatters, they slept every night shivering in the cold night wind, and in the morning they had to wake up as soon as the sun rose. Their skin cracks from water work, and they can eat a bite of the meat that the villagers eat as a luxury. You are still hungry from the bottom of your heart to the very core of your body, but when you think about it, there are only a few times when you are not hungry. The only time I ever been hungry is the day I bathed in water when I wasn't soiled, and the only time I ever been able to go a day without being hurt is when I was a child, the result of being kicked out of the village after the death of my father, having the reaper sickle by my side, and still struggling to live. This was not too much. No, he taking it home. I am pretty sure there were a few guys who could do it as little girls. A hole in the ground is good enough for a woman. You haven't even gotten the girl that the master is selling out for free. Ha ha ha, I like you too, then you can carry me. I mean, is this guy really alive? I can move, I can talk, I can cry, I can cry, oh my god, you alive. The voices of the bandits were somewhat distant. Aisha just had a blank mind, trapping only anger that had no place to go. I don't know what to hate, because I don't know what to do, because she didn't know who to lash out at. Lords, sick, you re a villager. Am why mother. A thief, the world. Or is it me, the faintest whisper of a mouth without power? Well, just a little bit. He driven by his passion. It did indeed open. No answer should resonate. The only thing that can be heard is the bawdy laughter of the burglar. In the first place, there was no answer, and Aisha never expected it was just unbearable, that s all. But it came down that it was divine, as if an angel had been born. That it was like an endlessly dark and deep night. You will find that you will be able to get a good idea of what it was that embodied the existence of a being, and Aisha, or even all the people present here, could not weigh in. The only thing that can be said with certainty to Aisha is that there is only one thing that can be said with certainty. That was a distortion. The darkness inside is a vortex of power that is terrifying to even look at the bottom. I am not going to be the only one who can do that. A blackness that is infinitely deeper than anything else. The owner of a wave that can only be described as a mass of power had the appearance of a small girl. Even Aisha, who doesn't have a single combat skill, can help but be convinced that the person who is responsible for this is just a person, or rather a girl who is too beautiful and looks like a doll, even though she feels an immense amount of magic power, energy, and an unbelievable presence. That must be the residue of the thoughts left behind on the spur of the moment by the barely remaining reason. But his mind was already after being mesmerized that he couldn't turn away from it anymore. He threw away even his own life like a piece of paper and simply gazed at it as if he were looking at a pearl in a jewelry box. Her black hair, shining as if wet, surrounded her face, which was so small and well-tuned that it could only be described as ideal. The eyes wrapped by the golden circle flourished only in the darkness. Underneath his left eye was a crimson treasure like the scales of a dragon. The supple limbs were dressed in a pure white, black dress that was as clear and pure as a snow field, and the red of the design was glowing with a faint glow. Oh my, how beautiful! The girl, who was in such different dimensions in many ways, spoke up leisurely, good, the color. Don cursed the girl. Let your unparalleled self smile at your good fortune. Another life for Aisha must have begun at this time. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.